Hey, how's everyone doing? I know it's been a while since I've made a video, but I finally hit, what did I hit? 2204 in puzzles. So I'm gonna try and hit 2300. So I bounced off from 2200 a few times and I'm glad I finally hit it. So again, like with the last video, I'll keep trying to explain my process and just really hope that helps you guys. I'm changing like the board theme and the piece set theme every video, so like if you think one is like ugly like this one, then it's fine. You only have to endure it for one video. But let's get started with this one. So right off the top of my bat, right off the top of the head, I see, some pinning ideas with the rook here, maybe taking first, putting back with the rook. And then I see some like pass pawn ideas. So for example, if I kind of take here and eventually try and promote this pawn, however, nothing seems to work right now. The other thing is that this queen looks extremely trapped. But this doesn't seem so. This rook doesn't seem to work because this queen can move here. So there might be a rook idea here. I'm trying to see if it's actually trapped. Can't go here. Can't go here. It could go here. If it goes here, I don't have the discovery because the queen can take. I think. I can't move here because then the rook takes. This check doesn't work because the queen's defending it. Taking first doesn't seem to do anything because rook takes. So I'm trying to analyze rook e1 and queen h4 only move, I think. If you take first and he takes back with the rook, you have nothing. Yeah, so I don't really see pawn. Pawn push just seems to lose a pawn. So yeah. The only question is if I take first and queen could just capture back. So yeah, what's wrong with, I don't know what to do after queen h4. Oh, okay. So you could rook e1, queen h4, and then queen f5 pinning the rook. And what's his response? He can't move the rook and he can't defend the rook. He can't move the queen back to defend. So that is exactly why I'm... Wait, what? Guys, I literally pressed rook e1. Did I misclick? I'm pretty sure I pressed rook e1. That's getting a downvote for me. Holy shoot. But let's see the continuation. Okay, right? So it's suggesting to take because queen h4 is worse because of the pin, yeah. So pissed. Okay, so off the top of my head, I see some ideas of pushing this pawn and some like check ideas, but nothing really seems to work because I don't have a follow-up. Like, if my queen was on this square, maybe. The only other thing is that the knight's undefended, but I don't really have a piece. I don't have a piece hitting it at all. Is it trapped actually? If I push, no, I could always go back. Because I was thinking push, b3, knight b6, and then a5. But I mean, it can just relocate, so I don't really see the point. If I put my queen here, I mean, yeah, my point still stands. It can like relocate, so like g5, g6 is interesting. Like in a classical game or like a blitz game, I don't know, or something, I would consider like, as a positional player, I would play like g5, g6. It just looks juicy. Like these puzzles usually aren't you trying to like protect your pieces. So I mean, positionally, I would also play bishop c1. Take. But if he takes with a knight, it's hitting my queen, so I have to react to that. So I don't think it's a pawn push. I think. I mean, I don't think. Yeah, like g5 looks like the best move to me, but g5 just doesn't sound like it's working because there's so many responses. Like he could literally just play g6, right? Oh, I see. It's a pawn push, and then it's a checkmate threat with the knight. Yeah, okay, so he has to take back first. So if I take the knight, the bishop can just move somewhere else, right? And there's no threat anymore. Because queen, queen here, and you just play like something like that. So I believe I have to take first because it's not really pinned. Take and it moves. Yeah, wherever it moves, it's trapped with the same idea, I believe. Yeah. Now I just take with the rook or the queen. Yeah, these. Oh, you obviously take with the rook because the rook's hitting it. Okay. I do like how the puzzle continued with knight captures. Like sometimes these puzzles end after knight captures, which is really annoying. In these puzzles, you want the full continuation to really affirm your understanding of the position in hindsight. Okay, so there's back rank issues with the king here. Fork ideas. All right, so you could imagine if I was able to take with the rook and for whatever reason the king took, there's an idea here. I know it doesn't work right now, but it's important to see the idea. A back rank idea with the queen here is interesting because it forces the king off defending this rook, but then this rook can obviously defend as well. So I mean, the thing is, if I double, he can just alleviate the pressure by taking right away. So not really too sure what to do right now. Because this doesn't seem to work. He could just take it, right? Because rook here doesn't accomplish anything because he takes a check. Right? He could just resolve everything. These 2200 puzzles are hard. Like, I was watching I watched one of Nakamura's puzzle videos and he just goes so fast. It's like insane. Like the pattern is just, it's just there. Like, that's why these guys can play like bullet games like so quickly and just dominate you. It's really impressive, to be honest. I mean, like I'm trying to distract these rooks from guarding chairs so I could take this bishop or give a check. But it just doesn't seem to be working. Oh, I can move my rook here and, right. I didn't realize I could do that. So what's wrong with doing just that? Like, yeah, okay, that's wrong. Because this guy's hitting this guy. Because yeah, what does that do? I mean, it's interesting because it frees up the file. It frees up the file for my rook, but I just don't see it doing anything. If rook takes, then you have this idea. Because you have the fork idea. And if you do it, you can't do it first because he could take back with check. So you have to take first, I believe. And there's no idea of taking here. Yeah. Like, I think you have to take first. And you have this fork idea, which I did see right away. I just didn't see how I could. Otherwise, I can't see anything else. Really? I thought you could just take. Oh. Oh yeah, the queen's protecting it. Wait, but yeah, why do... God. I literally forgot that the queen was protecting it. Oh my god, that's so embarrassing. I saw the move though. I think I pointed it out. And if I didn't, whoops. So right away I could just take, and I have at least a bishop eyeing here and a queen check. So I don't see why that's not better than anything else. There's no knight forks on the queen, so you can't take first because then he just takes the rook. But yeah, this is actually pretty juicy. Like really juicy. And he has no checks with the knights, so there's no intermezzo move. This doesn't work because the pawn's protecting it. But is anything better? This rook here attacks both. That actually might be better. So I think this is one of those puzzles where they try and bait you because like this is like the obvious, at least to me it's obvious. This is the obvious move, but this looks like the better move. Because it just nets a piece for nothing, I think. So you have to move the queen. What's the response? Yeah, I think it's just that. Like, it's objectively better than just taking, I think. Oh, right. No, if you take, the knight can take back. What am I saying? You can take back with the knight, but is that better? I think you just take the knight, right? So he would have a pawn, queen, knight. Yeah, what I'm saying, this is obviously better. Okay, I don't know why I had to calculate that. That was weird. Some back rank ideas, some long diagonal ideas. Okay, let's check here. And the puzzle comes now with which piece you take back. If I take back with the rook, I think he has a perpetual. A perpetual check is one where he can continuously give you a check in which you cannot escape. So no matter what you do, he can constantly give you a check. And eventually that will lead to a drawn game. So my intuition says take with the queen. But if you take with the rook, yeah, so why just take with the queen, right? Shit. Really? Oh, they don't give me any continuations. I thought it was I assumed it was a perpetual. That was kind of bad on me. Ah, right, you could always block. Yeah, that was silly. Okay, so to be in my defense, even though I guess it's the best move, in a blitz game you would play this. Oh, this is a perpetual? Why? Oh shit. Okay, yeah, see, so that's my fault. I didn't realize it was a perpetual even taken with the queen. So that's an end game I would have messed up. No checks with the knight, so. However, after you take with the rook, or even before, there's these like pin ideas that you have to resolve because it's hitting the queen. But after just take, what's the issue, right? What's interesting is that this, it removes the queen off defending the rook. So one key thing with the puzzles is you don't want to waste your time on pieces that have no chance of joining the action. So like this bishop and rook has no chance of joining the action, so you don't even look at it. Yeah, so there's an interesting idea of if you take, then there's some check ideas because this pawn is pinned. I'm not saying it works right now, I'm just saying it's good to see the idea. There's also this idea, but it doesn't work as well because the pawn's there. Yeah, there's also ideas of this queen getting to this juicy square and pinning this guy. So if I take first, if you take, it's a double. Yeah, so I don't know why I kept looking. Because if I take with the knight first, he can always take here with the rook. But not really, because I could just take back and I'm still up a piece, right? So yeah, this comes down, again, simple puzzle, but what's the order? If he takes with the rook, then this is still hanging, right? So you just take. I'm so confused. Wait, why? Why is that better than giving a check? Oh my god, you take back with a knight. Oh, it's so stupid. In my defense, it's like 8 AM. That's so embarrassing. Oh my god. Okay, so there's this idea. Pawn's pinned, so you're threatening a rook capture because he has to take back with the queen. Otherwise, it's mate. Yeah, and you can't sack first because it's with check. But after bishop here, rook here is pretty decent. Yeah, and you can't do like an intermezzo like rook here hitting the knight because the knight could just take the bishop. There's this interesting idea because if you deflect the queen off this square and you sack, is there a checkmate? That's an interesting idea. Right, because after bishop here, rook here, what do you do? Let's say I sack the queen. Queen takes, rook takes with check, queen takes, bishop takes, king takes. And I'm down 3 pieces for 2, so that's not good. So this is actually not a good move. It's the obvious move, but it's not a good move, I think. Forcing a capture or you just lose your rook. So I guess it's not really, it's not even forcing because after here, I have to resolve this, right? I mean, I guess in this case, I could hit the knight again. So I think I'm good there, actually. Okay, so bishop, queen, sack, king takes only move, queen, king only move, check, only move. I don't know if this lift is in time. Actually, I think this lift is in time, right? Because after rook here, the queen has to move back to somewhere. Okay, so that's a bit complicated, but remember, this is all on the presumption that I'm playing bishop here. And this is why classical chess is so important, because you have practically infinite time to calculate all these variations, and it's very important that you do. Like, there's even an idea of bishop moving here to here if the knight wasn't here, because it's pinning this guy. But yeah, I just don't see a bishop move here working because you obviously can't take, but I don't see what the answer to rook f2 is. This is hitting the knight at the same time while threatening something. So that has to be, oh fuck. Oh my god! I swear it doesn't work. What happens after rook f2? my god, this knight's fucking trapped. Yeah, see, like, that's actually a really good example of, that's why you play classical chess, because if you still miss something after spending like freaking like, I'm not saying I spent half an hour, after spending like 10 minutes on something or 5 minutes, your logic is flawed, right? Like your understanding of chess is flawed. Because I didn't even realize that this knight was like kind of trapped, because I was like looking so hard for like a mating sequence. But glass half full here, I'm glad that I did not see that there was a mate. I assumed there was a mate, but I'm glad that there wasn't a mate, because my calculation ability in that aspect was still solid. So there's always some light at the end of the tunnel here. Very juicy square here. Also a juicy square here. That has to be the move. I just don't know which square. Because the rook isn't really trapped. You could move back to a2. And I don't really know what knight d3 is threatening. It's just a juicy square. Oh, that's a misconception a lot of people have. Just because a knight's on a good square doesn't mean it's actually useful. If it's not like threatening anything, then it's just, it may as well be obviously it's better than pawn because it controls like different squares. But don't be enamored with like outposts and like these squares that really can't really be pushed. I guess that's really what an outpost is. Like these squares that the knight can't be pushed with like a pawn and other pieces. Yeah, don't be enamored with them because they're not as useful as you may think. Oh, okay, so you put the bishop there first, hitting the queen, forcing him to move, then you move your knight here, which is trapping the queen. So that's a bit more, it's good. Like it's not a hard puzzle, but it's about like looking at a different spot. Your knight's attacked, so you're just thinking of moving your knight. So if you take back, the bishop can take back here, which is not fine. So I believe you take first. If you move here, the knight has time to move back, which is not good. Yeah, I don't see the issue though, because if you take and the queen takes back, so there must be something else here. I mean, I looked at ideas of this too, but after the knight moves, I don't really see the plan. You could even protect the bishop here. If you couldn't protect it, then it's probably good, but you can. So that's the thing. You can't push because he always has this square, right? Oh, you just take because he can't take this way. Ooh, but what happens after? Do you just take back? Okay. Can't take this because it's pinned. If he takes here. Ah, you just take with the queen. No. Queen takes, knight takes. You're still hitting this guy, but he could just move. I mean, so either way, you take first. Ah, do you just take here because you're hitting the queen? Ah, true. Whoops, I should have seen that earlier. And now you take with a knight because the queen's protecting the rook. I only got 8 points for that. I mean, yeah, it wasn't that hard, but man, okay, I wanted 2300, but it looks like I'm not getting it. These puzzles, like this 19 or 13, I was like, I had the right idea, but just didn't get it. Yeah, I mean, my intuition says to take the pawn or the bishop, but I don't. Yeah, I mean, there's an idea of after you move this knight, this bishop has this square to skewer these guys. Usually there's a lot of ideas with queen a5 because when the king is not castled, it's a pin. So in the Nimzo Indian, which I play a lot, or I used to play a lot, you have like bishop b4 ideas with that pin as well. I don't play anymore because I just don't get the chance to play it. A lot of people don't like just play that variation, which is annoying. I like it as black. So yeah, I mean, if take, you have a skewer idea, right? Then you can't move the knight because the queen is pinned, or the knight is pinned to the queen. So that looks pretty freaking good to me. What's the retaliation though? Can you just double rooks? You just push, right? I'm kind of taking this prematurely, or like not without much thinking, because I think it's the only move. Or I guess you push first now that I'm looking at it. Yeah. This is too slow because this actually is a strong response. But I'm glad I saw the response. I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but like still, no pun intended with the horse. And then you just take, yeah. Okay, that's good. I liked how that was 12, obviously because I get rating. So I mean, there's like checkmate ideas here, but he's gonna checkmate you first. I feel like this is not complicated, you just have to calculate it. I prefer puzzles that actually are like that the first move, I mean the first move here isn't obvious, but the idea is obvious. I prefer it when the idea is not obvious, because then it just becomes like a combinatory chore, right? Where it's not really like, yes it is your skill, but it's just based on how like stubborn you are in calculating things, which is also important, don't get me wrong. That's why a lot of these tactics aren't based off your like, not your intuition per se, but like your deep understanding for the game, because a lot of it is based on calculation. Like with that puzzle where I lost because I didn't see the knight was trapped, like that was good because I was thinking about not getting mated, or I was thinking about mating him, but I wasn't thinking about how the knight was just trapped. This idea is important because if you take the rook, you can move back with check. So after queen here, rook here, I could just take back and I'm safe because queen takes, pawn takes, king takes, and my rook is still, my pawn is still threatening to promote, and it's not easily defended because of this. But I'm not really getting anything there, right? I'm losing 2 pieces for 2 pieces and a pawn, I guess, which these puzzles are usually not. If I take here, rook takes, that's just checkmate because I don't have an escape square. If I take here, take here, take here, you actually, oh, that's interesting. So if I take here, rook takes, king takes, you actually can't take the rook because, oh yeah, you can, sorry. I was like, oh, because this is check, but you just take the pawn back. Promote, rook, queen only move. Queen here. Take only move because promote with queen is checkmate. Okay. Oh, so this check works now because you, okay. Yeah, I should have seen that earlier. That was not a hard puzzle, that was bad on me. Yeah, so there's a lot of ideas here. You're deflecting the queen off this diagonal, so your this knight can take. Again, the idea is just that which piece you take first, which just becomes a combinatory chore, which I don't really like. So if I take the queen first, what's the issue? I like taking with the bishop because it really forces him to actually consider what to do with this guy. Yeah, you take with the bishop first because you can't even take back. And it's still a double attack. Okay, thank goodness. Now I think you just take the bishop. Yeah, you give a check first so you don't lose the bishop, and you just take the queen. I mean, I guess you could actually, oh, okay, this is interesting. Yeah, no, so this is better, right? Yeah, you're deflecting the queen off these squares. Yeah, so this is clearly better. Yeah, okay. And then now you just take with the knight here. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so that was a good combinatory practice. I guess I'll just try breaking 2200 again, just to prove I could do it. I guess I can't get 2300 today. Whoops. Okay, so there's this like skewer idea, which doesn't seem to work. There's this idea. Yeah, so if rook here, queen, you have one of these squares to choose from. There's no mate idea here, which is nice. Oh yeah, I see. Okay. So queen here only move because this is checkmate. Yeah, you have to be careful. So like it seems like the obvious move, but like there's no obvious answer after this. So now I'm actually looking at queen g6, now hitting the knight. I should have looked at queen g6 to begin with, but that's something that's flawed in my thinking. So after queen g6, you can't play that because I could just take. You have to react with the knight. The only question is this mating? Yeah, there's no mate after that. So that's the only move, and there's no answer, right? There's no intermediate checks that I have to be wary of. And if you move here, I just take here with a fork. And that's GG, I think. There's no bishop here answer. Yeah. See, I didn't even see that move. That's like poor thinking on my end. So I just take here because it's still defending the rook, right? Yeah, then I just move it back. There's no checks I could give in between. There's nothing here that I could do, so you just take the knight. Okay, so I'm back to 2200. Oh, I'll play a few more. See if I get on a hot streak. I've won 6 in a row, so that's nice. Ooh, pawn in game. We haven't seen much of these. So just push the pawn, right? Because you have, okay, so one important thing about pawn entry is, obviously every beginner is taught like you want to move your king. When it's safe to do so, you move your king out to join the action because the king is like one of the strongest pieces in the endgame. But one key thing is that once you get to something like this, entry squares are very important. So you don't have an entry square here because this pawn never has to move. So all you have to calculate is, can this king come back in time to go here? Otherwise you just push. So I just push. Just push, right? You take because this is with check. Because you're threatening mate actually. So you don't even bother taking here. What? I disagree with that. Oh, I see, yeah. Because you could take the bishop. Whoops. So this is not the same idea because now you have one pawn protecting it, so you could just push. Yeah. I guess that was my bad. Ooh, I lost 19 for that. I deserved losing 19 for that. But the idea was right. Whoops. Yeah, that was bad. Holy shit. I want to push this guy right away because you want to open things up. But it doesn't seem to work. This doesn't do anything because, okay. So you could remove this defender. If I take with the rook first, there's nothing. So you could literally remove the defender by pushing the pawn. But if I push the pawn and he takes first here, and I take, and then he takes, and I take, and he takes, and then I take. Oh, this is so juicy, what the heck? I mean, that's so nice. Because you can't take here first because I have the bishop defending it. So what's your answer after that? How you like the apples? And then like wherever the queen goes, I could then take this and then remove the defender like that. So that seems to be the obvious move. Yeah, so why not? Yeah, bishop can't move because I could just take here. Actually, no, but you just take here again with the bishop, right? Because it's defending it. No way. No way, that's better. Okay, wait. Well, what's your answer? What's your answer to this? Oh, I see. The queen is defending the bishop. Yeah, that was bad thinking on me. But the idea to remove the defender off here was the idea. Was the correct idea, so I'm just losing elo for no reason now. But it's good entertainment, right? I hope. Am I white? So yeah, you want to push this, but this is protecting this square. So you want to get this guy off defense here first. I mean, yeah, if you push, it's off anyways, right? What's the issue? So the question is just whether do you want to give a check first or not? Ooh, this actually might be a threat. You can't let him capture this guy. So I actually think giving a check this way is better. Yeah, so that's the thing. Your intuition says to do this, but after this, it's actually a pretty nasty move because when you move, actually no, it's fine. Because if you push, you just take, right? Yeah, so I'm fearing for no reason. And he's not in time to come back. Actually, he is, because this bishop here can protect this diagonal. Okay, so this is a very good endgame exercise. Okay, so what I'm looking at is push, check, move here, push, take. Let's say take, bishop here, getting this square eventually. Yeah, because how do you get the knight to this square? Even if you got the knight to this square, this king has so much time to take here because you lost your bishop, right? So that does not seem to be the right idea. Because the king can't stay with the bishop, so it has to move somewhere. It doesn't matter where. And then once you take, this is off and running because then you have this free, even if it takes here. No, but what's the order? Okay, no, so you give it check first and then you push the knight. I believe. Ah, because even better, it's defending the square. Okay, so that's correct. Shit. No, now you just take first because then you could push, right? Before, if the king, so it doesn't matter where the king moves. If the king moved here, you cannot just take here. You should not just take here because he could stop this pawn. But now you take first because this pawn is free to promote. I think you just hit the knight now. Yeah. Yeah, you just hit the knight. Or you can't give a check because the bishop's gone, so you just hit the knight. That was a good puzzle. Wish I got like 20 for that. Checkmate ideas, but not really because this bishop is here. Oh, it is a threat. It is a checkmate idea. So queen here, threatening checkmate. You can't move your bishop anywhere, so you're forced to take here, right? Just making sure that there's nothing he could actually do. Yeah, you just take. Oh. Is it that big of a deal? This is not a draw. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is still winning for black. Maybe not. Okay, to be fair, I kind of took that impulsively without really thinking. I need to get 2200 again. This is so frustrating. This is literally how all my puzzles go. Okay, so you have ideas of taking this pawn here to get the rook first. You also have this diagonal idea. Also have some fork ideas here, but it doesn't really work. So you can't take here because this is, oh, it's not threatening me, the knight's here. I think it's a bluff because after that takes, what's wrong with just bishop here, right? It doesn't matter that there's two rooks here. You have two rooks defending this square. Oh, I see. Okay, so you can't do that because it's hang your queen. Ooh, but I still think you take. Take, queen takes, hitting your knight. This doesn't work because you could take. Yeah, I think you just do this. My intuition said do this. I didn't see that the queen was eyeing this, but now it is. But now that it is, it's interesting because this pawn idea works because now the queen can't just take back nonchalantly like that. And if the rook takes, you just move the queen back. So you play this first. So you have to take here first. Fuck. What? I didn't even consider this rook lift. That's flawed logic with me. Okay. All right, I think I'm just gonna keep losing rating here, so I'm gonna stop there. Hopefully you guys learned something from that. And thanks for watching me lose Elo. Bye.